American Jews, for example, who are overwhelmingly secular, why they support this. I mean, a lot of it is just has to do with identity politics. Israel is the ultimate expression of identity politics, where it is simply a state, a state for Jews and primarily for European Jews, for white Jews, and there's a racial hierarchy in Israel among its Jewish Israeli population, where basically they couldn't get enough European Jews because a lot of them were wiped out in the Holocaust. So eventually, Zionists had to settle for the off-color version, the Arab Jews, and so they did whatever they could, including using terrorist attacks on Jewish populations throughout the Middle East in order to compel them to go to join the project. And then eventually, of course, they got they still needed more, so they got Ethiopian Jews, and so they're constantly looking for ways to compel Jews to join the project. So yeah, so it's a brutal irony, but yes, they did. They sterilized, in fact, Ethiopian Jews, and they also they kidnapped Arab Jews, Yemeni Jews. They kidnapped their children. So it's a process of forcing them to assimilate, to abandon kind of any of the culture that they had from Arab countries. And if you talk to the vast majority of Israeli Jewish Arabs, they are the most fervently anti-Arab. It's kind of like the poor whites of the United States, that big underclass that tend to be very vocal and explicit in their racism, because they're the ones that are most similar to, in the United States, they're the same class as the poor blacks. And so they want to make sure to maintain their privilege just above them. And same in Israel, they're the ones who are like just slightly above the Palestinians, so they have to, they want to maintain their loyalty to the state and their privilege as just a little bit better than a Palestinian. So American Jews who like to live in a kind of multicultural, diverse, cosmopolitan world, and it's purely about identity for them, because the fact is most American Jews don't know anything about Judaism, nor do they know anything about Zionism. I mean, the Judaism that I was raised with, I didn't, this whole analysis that I've presented to you today and that I've been presenting and is kind of the basis for my new documentary, I didn't know any of this. I had to learn all of this and develop it over time. But I was raised as a Reformed Jew, secular, largely secular. And so what happens is when we don't learn the Jewish customs and theology and religion, it gets filled in by Zionism, where they tell you, well, you're a Jew, so being a good Jew means supporting Israel, and that's your homeland, and that's what it is. So that's what Judaism is for a lot of people, is just like some kind of soft support for the state of Israel, and then any opposition to it, whether it's someone saying free Palestine or something like that, or it's like the Hamas attack on October 7th, is seen as anti-Semitism. And so it becomes like a triggering thing where you have like wealthy Jews in Los Angeles or whatever who as Israel is slaughtering Palestinians by the thousand per day, they think that, oh, I'm the victim here. Hamas is going to come out of a tunnel in my Beverly Hills mansion and attack me. And oh my God. So Israel's actually protecting us by mass murdering children. That's what they really believe. It's just so detached from reality. I despise these people, if you can't tell. It's just like, these are the worst people to me. And it's really just an expression of their lack of class consciousness, and of course, they have no sympathy, or they don't actually care about Jewish Israelis who are, say these soldiers who should not be sent in to fight, this war and get killed by some Hamas sniper or some IED. I don't want them to die either. or the Israeli hostages who are terrified for their lives in tunnels. Like, they oppose a ceasefire as they're sitting there in the most privileged positions in the world, and it's just sickening.
Yeah,
So
I would love to see Ben Shapiro go and fight.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Please, Ben Shapiro, I insist. Go strap up, join the Israeli army. You're such a fervent believer. I want to. This is my message to Ben Shapiro. Please go join the Israeli army. Strap up. Go get yourself, an M16 and see how long you last in northern Gaza.